wind was warm and the sun high when the biker crew known around town as the Iron Guardians rolled into the old roadside diner. Their engines rumbled like distant thunder, the kind you felt in your chest. They were rough men with heavy boots and worn leather, but among them was something unmistakable: loyalty. People feared them, misunderstood them, but those who truly knew them understood they lived by one rule: protect those who couldn't protect themselves. Inside the diner, everything seemed normal. Silver spoons clinked against coffee mugs. A fan hummed lazily overhead. The smell of fresh biscuits hung in the air. But something was off, something quiet, something trembling. A small boy sat alone in a booth near the window, his knees tucked close, hands shaking around a glass of water that he hadn't sipped. His name was Rowan. He couldn't have been older than 7. Clothes dusty, shoes old, eyes red like he hadn't slept in days. One of the bikers, the leader named Harland, noticed him. Harland was a large man, beard streaked with grey, eyes sharp but warm. He had seen battles, not just wars fought with fists or steel, but the kind fought in silence when someone's soul is breaking. Harland watched the boy, something pulling at him in the way pain recognizes pain. Just then, Rowan looked up, eyes wide, frightened, and whispered the words that would change everything. "They took my sister." Before the story continues, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and standing up for others, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Light of Kindness. Your support helps us spread stories that remind the world compassion still exists. The diner became still. The bikers exchanged glances, quiet ones that communicated far more than words. Harland knelt down to the boy's level, slow, like he might break him if he moved too quickly. Rowan swallowed hard, fighting tears as though crying were a luxury he could no longer afford. He told them about his sister, Maren. She was 14, gentle, always humming when she worked in the fields behind their old farmhouse. After their parents passed away, the siblings had been living with an uncle. At first he was kind, or at least present. But kindness can rot quickly when darkness festers behind closed doors. The uncle had begun inviting friends, men with cold eyes and sharp voices, men who smelled like danger and spoke in ways that made Rowan's skin crawl. Rowan had seen enough to know something was wrong, terribly wrong, but the worst came 3 days ago. Maren didn't come home from school. The uncle claimed she'd run away, but Rowan knew the truth. He heard them talking in the night. They had taken his sister somewhere. They were planning to sell her. Rowan had run. He'd walked miles. He had asked everyone for help. Everyone turned away, either too afraid or too uncaring to listen. Until now. Harland didn't ask for permission, didn't second guess, didn't hesitate. He stood in one swift, powerful motion. His voice, when it came, was low and steady, like the promise of a storm. "Mount up." The other bikers didn't argue. They didn't question. They moved. Outside, engines roared to life. The ground shook. Rowan stood beside Harland, one small hand clutching the edge of the man's vest, trusting because he had no more strength to doubt. Harland lifted him onto his own bike, safe between his arms, and they tore down the road, sunlight flashing across chrome. Rowan guided them, voice shaky but determined, pointing toward the outskirts where abandoned rail yards and rusting warehouses sat like broken teeth in the dirt. This was where the uncle's so-called friends gathered, the kind of men who preyed on fear, who saw innocence as something to take. When the dust settled, the traffickers were restrained, groaning on the floor. The bikers had not gone too far. They had gone exactly far enough. Harland walked to Maren. He didn't touch her yet, mindful of fear. He just knelt, offering his presence. "You're safe now." Her breath broke. Rowan rushed forward, and she wrapped him in her arms, both of them crying in quiet, shaking sobs. Not dramatic ones, just tired ones. The kind that come when your body realizes it doesn't have to fight anymore. The bikers brought them home to their farmhouse. The uncle was waiting there, pacing, panicking. When he saw the bikers arrive with Maren, his face drained of color. He tried to speak, tried to defend himself, but Harland didn't let him. The police were already on the way, called anonymously before the rescue even began. The law would handle him, not vengeance. Harlan didn't need to dirty his hands further. Days passed. Rowan and Maren began to breathe again, not easily at first, but ease returned slowly, like spring thawing winter bit by bit. Harlan and his men repaired the broken fence around the farmhouse. They stocked the pantry, they fixed the roof. They didn't ask for money, they didn't ask for recognition. Kindness doesn't ask for credit. One afternoon, while sunlight stretched long across the fields, Rowan ran to the gate as the bikers prepared to leave. He hugged Harlan's leg tighter than before. "Thank you," he whispered. There were no tears this time, just sincerity. Harlan rested a big warm hand on the boy's hair. "If you ever need us," he said, "you know where to find us." Maren stood a few feet away, watching, gratitude shining in her eyes like dawn. She didn't speak. She didn't have to. The engines started again, rumbling into the horizon, but something lingered in the air. Hope. The kind that takes root, the kind that grows. Because sometimes heroes don't wear capes. Sometimes they wear leather jackets. Sometimes they're just people who refuse to look away when someone whispers, "Help me." And sometimes that's all it takes to change a life forever. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Light of Kindness. Let's keep reminding the world that compassion is powerful. Special request: comment the word strong if you believe every child deserves protection and love.